Hi everyone, today I'm going to do the Finally Full book tag, which I was tagged to do very kindly by Emily over at Simply Emily. Thank you so much for tagging me, by the way, I really appreciate it. So I'll leave her video down below so you can go and check that out, and I'll also leave the creator's original video down there as well so you can go and have a look at that. So I know that it's not going to be autumn, fall for much longer, but I really wanted to do this video, and so I'm just going to do it now and pretend that we're not going into winter. So the first question is, in autumn, the air is crisp and clear, name a book with a vivid setting. So my answer for this question is going to be The Lesser Bohemians by Emma McBride, and I wouldn't say that the setting in this novel is actually on the face of it that vivid. It tells the story of a young girl who in the 1990s goes to study theatre in London, and she falls in love with an older actor. And so we find the girl try and find a place for herself in this new city, and also try and make friends and navigate her career, and also when she falls in love with this man, kind of deal with all of the emotional turbulence that comes along with that. So clearly the setting in this novel is just 1990s London, but Emma McBride has a really distinct writing style, and she somehow manages to make the setting come alive so much through the way she writes. Emma McBride doesn't use a traditional grammatical structure in her writing. It's kind of like a stream of consciousness style from the point of view of the protagonist. This really allows you to see into the protagonist's mind and feel her emotions, and at the same time I really felt like it made the setting come alive, especially when she was kind of at house parties, or while she was at uni, or while she was at the flat of her lover. The writing really managed to get across the chaos and the newness of the setting for the protagonist, and I thought this was really amazing. I don't know if that made any sense, but basically the writing really managed to make the setting come alive, and I really felt like I was there with the protagonist. The second question is, nature is beautiful but also dying. Name a novel which is beautifully written but also deals with heavy topics. So for this question, I'm going to talk about Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo. I read this earlier this year and really loved it. It's a novel that tells the story of a woman in 1980s Nigeria who can't conceive children. Because of this, and due to the culture that this is set in, the protagonist goes through a lot of difficult consequences due to her infertility, as well as the obvious personal struggles that she has to deal with. We see the protagonist take a lot of herbal medicines and follow different rituals, and also her husband has to remarry a second wife in the hope of having a son. This novel definitely deals with quite a lot of heavy topics, including desperation, loss and grief, but it's also surprisingly quite a page-turner, so I'd really recommend it for that as well. The third question is, autumn is back to school season, name a non-fiction book that taught you something new. So for this I'm going to talk about one of my favourite non-fiction books, and certainly one that taught me a lot, and that is Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer. So this book details Jonathan Safran Foer as he decides to look into animal agriculture today, in particular in America, and what it is to eat meat in this day and age. He speaks to a wide range of people in this book, including factory farmers, family farmers, vegetarians, vegans. He speaks to so many different people and really gets quite a broad range of views on the topic. And this book really brought to light some of the really shocking facts about what animal agriculture is like today, and not just the meat industry but also the animal byproduct industry such as milk and eggs. I thought this book was really well presented and wasn't biased towards either meat eating or vegetarianism, which I really appreciated, but it also didn't shy away from any of the really horrible facts of the matter. It was also just really well written because it's Jonathan Safran Foer and he's a brilliant writer, so I would recommend this to anyone. If you eat meat or if you don't eat meat, it's a really good read. The fourth question is, in order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with the people you love. Name a fictional family or friendship group that you'd like to be part of. And so for this question, I have to answer The March Family from Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. This is one of my favourite books of all time, and I absolutely love The March Family, every single one of them. This novel is set in the late 1800s and tells the story of sisters Meg, Jo, Beth and Amy, and it just follows them as they grow up from being young girls to women and all the things that go along with that. All of the characters are really unique but brilliant in their own way, and they all learn throughout the novel, which is one of the best aspects of it for me. They're all trying to become different people and dealing with different situations in different ways, and I absolutely love all of them for that. I would really love to be part of the March family. All of the sisters seem so great in their own way, and also their parents are really nice. The fifth question is, the colourful leaves are piling on the ground. Show us a pile of autumn coloured spines. So here is my pile. So in this pile I have Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi, Days Without End by Sebastian Barry, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, The Power by Naomi Alderman, The Wonder by Emma Donoghue, A Patchwork Planet by Ann Tyler, The Bloody Chamber and Other Stories by Angela Carter, and Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. The sixth question is, autumn is the perfect time for storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein somebody is telling a story. So for this question, my answer is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, which is a high fantasy novel that's told as a story within a story. At the beginning of this novel, we meet the protagonist, the infamous Kvothe, who is a famous magician, but at the beginning of the novel he's not actually going by Kvothe anymore. He owns an inn and is going under the false name Coat. We then see Kvothe detail his life story from when he was a young boy, and over the course of this trilogy we'll finally get to see why Kvothe has ended up where he is now. This is a fantastic high fantasy novel with fantastic characters and a brilliant plot, and I would highly recommend it to anyone wanting to get into some high fantasy. The seventh question is, the nights are getting darker, share a dark, creepy read. So I actually struggled with this question quite a bit because I don't really tend to read creepy reads, and so for this I've gone for The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I don't suppose this is necessarily the creepiest novel around, but it's definitely quite magical and whimsical and has a dark thread running through it. It also deals with quite deep themes and looks into the kind of weirder, darker corners of reality, which was quite interesting. So this is my answer for the creepy read question. Neil Gaiman is about as scary as I go. The next question is, the days are getting colder, name a short and heartwarming read. For this question, I'm going to actually answer with a book that I don't have with me, and it's at home because it's my mum's copy, and that is The Little White Horse by Elizabeth Goudge. This is a beautiful children's kind of fantasy and adventure novel that follows a little girl called Maria who goes to the Valley of Moonacre. This is a wonderful little book. I really love it. I've read it a couple of times now, and I'd really recommend it to somebody who's wanting a fast, kind of heartwarming read. This time of the year is definitely the best time to pick something like this up. The ninth question is, autumn returns every year, name an old favourite that you'd like to return to soon. For this question, I'm going to answer Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alea Sáenz. This is a young adult novel that tells the story of Ari and Dante, two teenage boys who make friends one summer, and we see the way their friendship develops and also how they develop as individuals. I read this novel a couple of years back now, and I absolutely loved it when I did. It got 5 out of 5 stars from me and quickly became one of my favourites, so it's definitely about time that I got around to rereading this one. The final question is, autumn is the perfect time for cosy reading nights. Share your favourite cosy reading accessories. So like I've mentioned in a previous video, I don't really need anything to read. I will read literally wherever I am. I can be walking down the street and all I need is my book. But my ideal reading setup is me sat in a living room in my pyjamas, all cosy with a cup of tea, and other people are in there too watching the TV. So I suppose my best reading accessories are other people, background noise, my pyjamas, and a cup of tea. So that was all my answers to this tag. I really enjoyed doing it and thinking up all the different answers to the questions. I'll definitely tag some more people to do it, and I'll link all of them down below so they can get around to doing it if they haven't had the chance yet. So I hope you all enjoyed hearing my answers to the questions. Please let me know what your favourite autumn read is, and I'll see you soon with a new video. Bye.